Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ballroom History and Culture panel discussion brought to you in partnership with Indiana Pride of Color and Indy Pride. I am your host, Justin Sears Watson, Creative Director and co-founder of Phoenix Rising Dance Company and Phoenix Rising Dance Studios. I'd like to welcome everyone watching this live broadcast and the replay of this powerful discussion. A recording of this event will be available on Indy Pride Facebook Live and Indy Pride YouTube pages. Now, Ballroom is a pillar of LGBTQ plus history and culture. We'd like to make sure that we acknowledge right now that Ballroom was a community created by Black and Latina trans women as a creative space to dance, turn it on the runway, uplift each other, and compete for trophies and prizes. To this day, the ballroom scene has continued to be a safe place for LGBTQ plus people to build chosen families and communities. Ballroom is not only fueled by a passion for art and creativity, but the need to survive. We'd like to wish everybody out there, a very happy Pride Month. This is the second event for the Indy Pride Virtual Festival celebration, and I'm so excited to be here with you. We have a great group of panelists, and I'm excited to introduce each of them right now. Entice Makaveli, aka Edward Benson Jr., is the founder and executive director of Mott Incorporated, a mental health and wellness organization focused on Black trans, non-binary, and queer persons. He is also the HIV prevention program coordinator for Black same-gender loving men at BU Wellness Network. His passion to serve his community is from his deep roots in the ballroom scene culture. Intyce is part of the pioneering class of the Indianapolis ballroom scene, where he is known as the overall overseer of the exclusive House of Makaveli. Through the ballroom community, he has now accomplished so much, and most of his work by mentoring the LGBTQ plus children of tomorrow. Intyce, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and I look forward to this panel discussion. It's going to be very, very awesome. Shout out to my two other panelists as well. There are a couple of dope people, so I'm really excited about this. Thank you so much.
Well, we are so happy to have you. We also have Tre'mont from the House of Prodigy. Tre'mont has been a member of the ballroom scene for a little over 16 years. Now, Tre'mont has been a house member, a house father, and a founder for various houses. Tre'mont is very big on family and creating lifelong bonds. Tre'mont's category is European runway, and his walk is to die for. Tre'mont has trained a plethora of individuals to walk the runway, and he finds joy in doing so. Tre'mont, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited for this tonight. Just like Entice said, it's our two co-panelists, him and Jeter, are both dope as well. So I'm just excited to see what tonight's gonna bring, man. And of course, awesome. Justin, you're dope as well. So.
Well, I'm sure Indy Pride and Indiana Pride of Color is grateful to have you, and I'm so happy to be here for this discussion. We also have Jeter Gucci, Cedric Jeter, aka Jeter Gucci, from the HBO Max original series Legendary, is a Gary, Indiana native, dancer, choreographer, and aspiring actor. Dancing since the age of 6 years old, he began his ballroom career in 2012, walking and winning multiple awards from state to state and even internationally before finally being casted on Legendary and making it to the top 4 in the competition as a semifinalist with the gorgeous House of Gucci. Jeter, how are you today? So it looks like, do we have Jeter? So let's see here. So we're having some technical difficulties. So when Jeter comes back on the live stream, we will check over with Jeter and say hello to him, everybody. Before we get into this conversation, we'd like to remind everyone viewing the program online that we would love to hear your thoughts on this discussion. As we move along, please follow and add your comments and questions in the chat. We will get to as many as we can during the Q&A. I think I'm going to start with the discussion. So, Intyce, since we started with you, I'm sure people would love to know, because it's so powerful, and I think we should really lead with this. What is your story, and why did you get involved in the ballroom scene?
So my story is a little different from most people that got into the ballroom scene. The ballroom scene is technically a safe space for individuals to come together who kind of lack that family bond in their real lives, or who have been, pushed out of their home. That was the original. Original reason why ballroom was pretty much built outside of the Black and brown trans women who wanted their own space to compete. But for me, I came from a family. I was loved, I was nurtured, I was pushed to do great things. But I felt like I was somebody who could lead and who could be someone who could bring that love asset to ballroom and kind of do that. So that was technically the reason why I got into ballroom once I was taught about it, and once the people who discovered me and pushed me to be great in ballroom introduced me to it, I knew that was the role that I wanted to play.
That's powerful, because so many people need or long for leadership, and so since you were able to have that supporting environment, I'm sure that you are a fantastic leader within the community.
That's what they say. I appreciate that though, wholeheartedly, definitely. It used to be a time where I had to try to do it. Now it's just second nature. So I definitely appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. So we have Jeter with us. Jeter,
hey y'all.
I don't know if you were on, but we talked about you and I shared with everyone a little bit of your background. So how are you doing, Jeter? I'm sure everybody would like to know.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy Pride to everybody that's joining the live, and I'm excited. This is a great opportunity.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, Jeter, since you're on here, why don't you let us know a little bit about what I asked Entice, which is, what is your story and why did you get involved in the ballroom scene? And then we'll head over to Tre'mont.
My attraction to the ballroom scene, or to the ballroom community in general, was kind of a secondary outlet for me, because I was already a dancer, or an aspiring professional dancer at the time. So anything that had to do with the arts kind of draw me in, and Voguing was just, for me, another style of dance that I could conquer, like jazz or ballet or hip hop or whatever the case may be. So that initially drew me into the ballroom culture, because I love the art of Vogue. And I definitely have a family that nurtures me as well, but having a chosen family just kind of helped elevate me to the level that I am at today. So I feel like having the support on both ends definitely helped shape who I am today. So I appreciate that as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Tre'mont, what about you? What is your story? Why did you get involved with the ballroom scene? It's so nice that, even from Entice to Jeter, it's different, and so everybody has a different reason. So I'm excited and interested to hear what your story is.
Yeah. So my story is a little different. I didn't know anything about ballroom or anything like that until I went to Atlanta for Gay Pride one year. And I went to this club and I met this guy who's an amazing guy. He's deceased now, but his name was Eric Christian Bazar. And I met him at this club, and I mean, these people were so talented. It was him and maybe about 20 other guys, and they were just displaying the different ballroom things that I knew nothing about. And so I was so honed in on it. I actually had a conversation with him after the fact, and I was just like immediately drawn to the whole culture of ballroom. And ironically, when I came back home from that Pride that year, the individuals that brought it to Indianapolis had like opened their doors and were just like teaching everybody all this stuff about ballroom, and I just kind of dived head first into it. and fell in love with it. I've always been pretty much interested in, like Jeter said, you know, the arts. So being in marching band in school and being a church boy and, you know, being a musician, all these things kind of went into play together. And it was just like, it was a necessary thing that I needed to do at that time. And yeah, man, once you got in it, you're just in it. Like,
Absolutely. That's
I developed such a family bond with so many people from all over the world immediately. So yeah, that's kind of what kept me so long in it.
Yeah, it's powerful because I hear a theme coming from you all, um, and one is arts and dancing and moving, but also community is kind of the theme and what I hear you all saying. And I know, for me, dance and arts saved my life, and it seems like, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but the arts has helped you all really. Kind of lead some really awesome and extraordinary lives. So it's really great. And when we think about community, it kind of brings me to this question about what does the ballroom community mean to you all? What did it mean to you when you first got involved, and maybe what does it even mean for you today? So Entice, maybe you can start that question.
So when I first got involved with Ballroom, honestly, I didn't see it being what it is today. I got into Ballroom simply because I wanted to spread love and show my talents. Like that was technically all it was. I did hip hop dance. I competed in talent shows and all that. So it was already just something that I was like, ooh, competing. Yes, let's do it. But once I really learned the culture and its derivative, it began to mean a lot more to me. It meant family, it meant community, it meant love. And as far as what it what it means today, to still be involved in Ballroom, with it being on the major platform that it's on now, and still being able to nurture, teach, love people, to still have the same standards in Ballroom that I had 20 years ago is a great feeling. And I think that that's really where my passion to still be a part of Ballroom comes from. It's just still being able to bring the real fruits of Ballroom to Ballroom. I think it's just important that we remember our roots and remember why Ballroom was here in the first place. So I think that's what it means for me, is that I'm still able to share the origin of Ballroom and the love of Ballroom with the people who come in contact with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's powerful because with it becoming so popular, it seems like you being a leader in a house and a mentor. It's a great time to be in that position because pop culture kind of drives us here. So you're going to have a lot of people coming to you wanting to know about what can I do to be a part of this and how can I get involved. And so it's really great to know that people have this community through you all to come to, and they can kind of start and have community. Jeter, what about you? I mean, what does the Ballroom community mean to you, and how did you get in? And how did you first get involved?
Well, what it meant to me at first, like I said before, it was kind of like another outlet, more so something to do. It was definitely something that I really, really enjoyed doing. So I spent a lot of time like practicing and competing. But as time went along and you begin to form bonds with the people that you call your family, and it just kind of became more. It became more than about competition. Yes, go out there and have a good time, but I also now I'm concerned about my bro. Like, I want to make sure he has everything he needs, and I want to make sure he's prepared, and I want to make sure the house looks good as a whole, and it's not just about me anymore at this point. And I think that's more so what ballroom means to me now. Like, I feel like I've done the things that I wanted to conquer, and now I want to be able to lend a hand to help somebody else to be able to conquer the things that they see for themselves in their future.
That's That's beautiful. Yeah. Kind of like being your brothers and sisters keepers and having this
Exactly.
community where you can watch each other's backs. Tre'mont, what about you? You know, what did the ballroom community mean to you when you first got involved, and what does it mean today?
So again, when I first got involved, it was just like this is something new. Like I want to experience all of it, see what it's about. It was definitely the competition aspect of it because back
Hmm.
then we were just competing for trophies, and you know they were big trophies, and everybody wanted the trophies. You know what I mean? And it was fun. It was fun. Of course, in any competition, you're going to have the issues, right? So there were some issues because some people were just poor sports, or maybe there was some shade going on. But it was always the bond that I think like Jeter and Entice both said that we built with people all over. Like I'm just sitting here looking at the screen, like, yo, me and Jeter have been in the same house together once upon a time. Me and Entice have been in the same house together once upon a time. So there's just bonds that you build across the United States and even overseas with people that you probably would have never met had you not been a part of Volvo. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's really it's changed from then to now. Um, like Entice said earlier, it's like now it's something that you're not doing it just because you want to. It's a second nature now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I
Yeah.
know what
Hmm.
I'm doing. Like I know how to participate, and you know it's for me. I can't speak for them two, but I'll go to a ball before I go to a club to party. Like if there's a ball
Hmm.
going on, I'm going to the ball. Like I don't want to go to the club. You know,
Yeah.
so it's what it is, man. It's everything.
Yeah. That's great, and I love that you mentioned, being a good sport or a poor sport. It seems like, even in the ballroom scene, it may be just like it's maybe just like any other competitive sport or competitive dance that it's about, with your house or your family, learning teamwork, learning how to lead, learning how to follow, learning how to stick together, learning how to take loss well, learning how to win well.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that people can see that, are seeing right now, that there's so much more to ballroom than just, cat, 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 kitty, cat, cat, cat,
Oh
giving a
yeah,
five, six, 7, 8. But
definitely.
Yeah.
it's about community and building relationships with each other. Um, so I want to ask you all, what's your favorite part about ballroom? Because I'm sure that each of you maybe have the same or something different, especially for people who maybe want to get involved in the scene. So, Entice, what is your favorite part about being in the ballroom community, and why?
I think now over the years it has changed. I think my favorite part of being part of the ballroom community now is that it's a conversation piece.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go to someone and they mention, ballroom, and you can have a whole conversation and open up somebody to a whole new world. And seeing the aha moment that they have when they find out that this, subterranean culture has bubbled over into mainstream and is part of the reason why some people, can design certain garments, or
Mm-hmm.
can make certain types of music, or we are literally stakeholders of pop culture. And when
Ooh.
people finally find that out, it's a great thing to see. Like, it's awesome because I was a part of that before it was anything. And so I think that's my favorite part of being part of Ballroom now,
Yeah.
is just being able to educate people outside of what they see on TV.
Uh-huh. Preach.
Absolutely.
That's, I mean, all right, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeter, yeah, yeah, same question. What is your favorite part of ballroom, the ballroom community, and why?
Um, I think my favorite part of the ballroom community is the fact that I get to travel so much doing what I love. Like, I feel like there's more states that I have been to than I have not been to.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because of the balls that take place in the different regions throughout the United States. And sometimes when you get a little bit of a name going for yourself, you want to take your show on the road
Yeah.
and hit those different cities around the country so you can be what's called state to state.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got into my groove and I was able to do those types of things, I saw so many places around the world, even overseas, that I never probably would have been able to the chance to be able to see. And
Absolutely.
even though even though ballroom was the initial idea or the initial purpose of traveling to those places, I still got to enjoy my time while I was there and see something new, see something different. And me being, from a small town, Gary, Indiana, where it's next to nothing here, most people don't even know what it is. You know, being able to step outside your hometown and do what you love is a big deal. So,
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Tre'mont, you, what is your favorite part of being? What's your favorite? What is your favorite part of being?
I
Um,
get you.
yeah, I'm tongue tied.
It's all
Go
right.
ahead.
So yeah, my favorite part is just the camaraderie, the family bonds that I've built with people. Probably 85 to 90% of my friend group is from Ballroom.
Okay.
Um, so like that has to be my favorite part of it. And it has changed. I mean, it's still the competition, but the competition has changed so much from 18, 19 years ago to now. It's changed a lot. Just depending on like I remember one time I could walk a category and just paint my face or something, and you know what I mean, go out there and compete. Now for my category, you have to get into a whole costume, and it may not be a $10 costume. You might have to
Yeah.
spend money. You know what I
uh
mean, to compete with this. So the times have definitely changed. Some of the people in ballroom are very I don't know the word I could use, but my first mainstream house that I was in was the House of Ninja, and God rest his soul, but Willie Ninja was a major part of my life, and he taught me so much, like from all the way from New York to here, like we were on the phone for hours and hours and hours, just putting into me the information that I needed to become a father so early. You know what I mean? In ballroom, so the House of Ninja was the first house that I was the father of, and it was just, I mean, just the camaraderie, man, and the bonds that were built. Like that has to be my favorite part. So
Yeah. That's
yeah,
that's beautiful. I I think it's great that you're all letting people know that although they may have not they may not have heard about ballroom, it has been around, and it is international. It's not just from state to state, and that it's giving you all opportunities to travel and do so much. And I think as Black men and leaders in the community, it's really special to see you all really nurturing this community. Um,
and another thing, just
and
not to cut you off, but
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
a lot of people, the misnomer is that it's only gay men that are in ballroom.
Right. Yeah.
Ballroom is full of cisgender women, trans women, men. Like this, it's very diverse. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not just black people or minorities. There's everybody's a part of ballroom now. So
Absolutely. Thank
um,
you for saying that.
definitely.
Yeah, that's important. So what are you all doing to stay creative during this time of social distancing? Because I'm sure that's affected the community in so many ways. Entice, what about you?
I think the main thing is I'm just going to call a spade a spade. During this time, there's been plenty of room to be creative because we've still had balls.
Yeah.
So there's really not there's really not any type of mind blockage when it comes to ballroom.
Gotcha.
My current job in my house is to make sure that things are flowing, that people are doing what they need to do to present well at these balls. So it's been real easy for me. I'm not gonna lie, because I've been able to just continue to nurture talent and continue to help people hone their craft in ballroom. So
Hmm.
it's been very easy for me to stay creative during the social distancing, definitely.
That's great. Jeter, what
so,
about you?
um, so I've been trying to work at. Sorry, I've been trying to work at um doing a little bit of video editing as well as creative directing and just putting together my own little projects that I've kind of, cooked up in my own mind. And you know what I'm saying? Instead of, because sometimes walking balls can be draining because you're constantly being judged by people and you don't always agree with those opinions. So constantly being, you know, critiqued and picked apart by people who sometimes can't even do what you can do can be draining a little bit. So sometimes just being able to have the space to just do what you do with no judgment is so that's kind of what the pandemic has been for me. I have walked some balls, but I've purposely stayed away because of certain things like that. So just being able to create my own space where I can, get my tens without having to get my tens, if that
Right.
Crazy.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Absolutely, it does. It's kind of I've heard people, talk to people about them almost having, and not to make light of the pandemic, but almost a reprieve in the sense that they were able to go back inside themselves and find out things that maybe uh, now ways of being creative that they didn't even know that were in them, and so it's
Hmm.
kind of sounds similar. Tre'mont, what
Yeah.
about you?
So for me, my creativity, I'm a Virgo. Shout out to the Virgos.
I'm a
My,
Virgo too.
go ahead, tell me I like you. So my creativity is always flowing through the social distancing thing. I kind of just started like everyone said, I'm working on myself a lot. Got some things going with my own clothing line that I'm getting ready to launch, a big men's streetwear clothing line. Just a lot of the talents that kind of just been sleeping on. Got those things going. Also, I'm a person who did have COVID, and it almost took me out of here. So it was kind of like I like what you said, like a reprieve. When I came out of that, from the doctor saying that I wasn't going to make it to actually making it out of that, and it's like a second shot at life. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
kind of been on the
absolutely.
go ever since coming out of that. So I've started doing, since being back around people, started having some runway classes. So there's a few people in the city of Indianapolis that have been going through some runway classes, and just kind of putting things together and keeping busy, man. We have had balls, like Entice said, but something that I think is really creative. People started doing online balls, and that was so dope to me. Like they were doing balls via these different things, and so it gave people from all over the world the opportunity to still compete. I did not compete, but I definitely watched. So yeah,
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on getting your clothing line started. That's
yes,
powerful,
thank you.
and
Keep
it's
your eyes open. It's
great.
coming.
Absolutely,
Hopefully
absolutely.
before the fall, it's coming.
So uh, this question is going to be for Jeter, because we all, it's not necessarily an elephant in the room, but we know Jeter was on the HBO Max
Yeah.
series Legendary. So Jeter, it's I feel like the questions have kind of led up to this in a way. Intyce was talking about leadership and mentoring and getting the scene started in Indianapolis. Tre'mont was talking about how it's helped him become be even more creative, and now he has a clothing line getting started. And so it seems like to be on that show would be an extremely powerful experience. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What was it like performing on the HBO series Legendary?
Wow. So it's crazy because it's a year ago this week that Legendary premiered and HBO Max premiered because most people don't know that Legendary was one of the original series that actually launched the entire app.
Yeah.
So it's been a whole year since that, and it's just been an amazing ride. I get so many inboxes and DMs from people all over the world saying so many nice things that I may or may not deserve. But
You deserve them all. You deserve them all. You are worthy. You gotta take that in.
but no, the experience was absolutely amazing. I don't regret anything. I would do it all again the exact same way, except maybe this time I will win.
Well, maybe
um,
there'll be the opportunity, for like a comeback in the future or something. What was your favorite part about the experience?
I think my favorite part of the experience was just being able to like do the ideas that I have in my mind and just bring it to wardrobe and bring it to hair and makeup and just be like, okay, let's make it happen. Money's no object.
Absolutely.
And it's just like,
Oh,
okay, like, like the creative process I think was my favorite part. And I think that's what led to me exercising my muscle of being a more of a creative director and producing my own projects. Could just seeing the whole, the moving pieces that it takes to bring together a project like HBO Max and Legendary, like it just made me want to do more within myself and take what I learned from that experience to move forward with my own journey.
that is awesome. Um, you know, Gentlemen, thank you so much for answering those questions.
Thank
I feel
you.
like I've learned so much about you all, and it's like I want to get to know you more. So I hope people watching, have learned a lot about not just you, but about what you've contributed to the ballroom scene. And thank you for that. We do have a couple of questions from Facebook. And one of those questions is, and I guess I'll just kind of throw this out there, and everybody can answer. But what is Vogue? Why is ballroom such a big part of the Indiana Pride of Color community, or BIPOC community? Maybe that's what that question is supposed to be. So, what is Vogue, and why is ballroom such a big part of the BIPOC community?
Insights, you want to answer that?
I suppose I will. So Vogue is basically an artistic expression, a dance expression, using. So it derived from Old Way. Old Way was the original form of Vogue. Essentially, that is the more intricate, more precise, straight movements. And things of that nature. That's more of what that Vogue is, and that was the original Vogue. And
Okay.
then it kind of elevated from the female figure, trans women, or up the people, the up in drags or whatever, however it went back then, but mostly trans women, which we call film queens in ballroom. They started basically doing a more feminine version of the old way. And so when they started doing the more feminine version of the old way, butch queens, which are the masculine version of men, us, they essentially start imitating the film queens. And so that is where Butch Queen Vogue film came from, or was the Butch Queens imitating the film queens. And so that is essentially the Vogue that you see today at its most elevated form, but it is certainly film Vogue. So it was once Old Way, then it went to female figure old way, which is what it was, film queen Old Way, and then went to Butch Queen Old Way, and then the new way stretch came along after that. So that is what Vogue is.
Okay,
I
Jeter.
I love that we have Jeter in the background. Jeter
They
in
need
the
to know. They need to
background
know.
demonstrating, and I love it because Jeter's been teaching me about ballroom culture, and my husband. And it's been great because we've even had him into our studio teaching some of our students, which is so powerful for them to learn, and they love it. And so it's great to hear, because I've heard some of that history from Jeter, but it's great to hear it from you, Entice, because you just told it in a different way, and it makes it so clear. So thank you. Anyone else want to address that question before we go on?
I think you hit the
The
nail on the
Tyson
head.
nailed it. You just
All
nailed it.
right, that's great. So we have a comment on
Oh, I think we
Facebook
missed
from.
part of their question though. They said, "Why is it a big part
Oh
of
yes, thank you,
BIPOC?"
Tre'mont. Yeah, why is it such a big part of the? Yeah, why is ballroom such a big part of the BIPOC
I can
community?
answer that part.
Absolutely.
Um, I think more so just because it's a art, it's a form of self expression, and you're taking what people would maybe traditionally or what I'm saying normally hate most about you and using it to what I'm saying elevate yourself, and it's kind of empowering to like take what what I'm saying most people may not necessarily see as beautiful or as art or as dance or whatever the case may be, and showing them something different and just being able to express yourself but also come together as a community as well. And I think that's the main part, because the ballroom scene brings everybody together. And that's what we need the most in our community, because we deal with so much trauma and we deal with so much negativity and so much, so many no's and so many closed doors, because we're so unapologetic about who we are. So having people come together as a community is necessary.
That's a great answer. Anyone else?
No, they nailed it.
That's great. That's so beautiful, and especially because I'm sure there are people out there who are looking for a place in a community that accepts them for who they are, completely, and the ballroom community does that. So thank you for, I'm going to keep saying it probably the rest of this live stream. Thank you for what you all do. Thank you for providing and being a part of a space that really accepts people for who they are. We do have a comment on Facebook from Joshua Griffin. He says, ballroom helped me be more comfortable with accepting my attraction towards men and helping me be more comfortable with who I am overall as a person. I think that's really, really important.
Hi, John.
It is important.
And I think
hey, Josh.
It speaks to what you all are saying right now.
Definitely.
So Joshua, thank you for sharing that. That's powerful. And it'll let people know that the ballroom community is helping change people's lives. And that's important and it's powerful.
That is, I actually was just having this conversation with somebody, because I feel like, and I feel like sometimes only the Black gay community deals with this issue, and that's a whole nother conversation. I'm just gonna speak on it briefly, but I feel like masculinity is such a big thing within the Black community, or the Black gay community also. And I feel like I'm learning that, probably because of ballroom, that the older I get, the less masculinity really means a lot to me. I'm not so stern on wanting somebody that's so masculine, or being turned off by the feminine ways in the man, or whatever the case may be. And I think I've learned to be more comfortable with that because of my interaction with the ballroom community and the people that are affiliated within it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Jeter. It's real and it's honest. I think that shows us actually one of the reasons why balls are so important to us. But a question for you all is, how can we show our community why balls are important to all of us? And I think Jeter kind of touched on that just now, but Entice and Tre'mont, if you want to share, and then Jeter as well. So how do we show our community why balls are important to all of us?
I think we're kind of doing that now. It's really, really hard to just beat it into people why things are important to a certain community that they don't belong to. But I think that that's the main thing is having these discussions and things of that nature, because even if you're someone who's a part of ballroom and you just started ballroom and you live in Indy, well, that's not the end all be all to balls. So it's kind of hard, to explain to you the importance of ballroom until you actually feel it for yourself. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, we can continue to have conversations like this. Balls are public property. Like, anybody's welcome to come and view what goes on at a ball. Depending on the time of the year or the person throwing it, you might be able to catch an exhibition ball where you're just coming to watch, where they put on a show for you and it's still ballroom. So there's different ways for us to definitely connect people to the importance of ballroom.
Awesome. Anyone else, Tre'mont or Jeter?
I think Intyce said it good. I mean, ballrooms, hey, if you want to find out, knowledge is power. You know what I mean? Just go find out. Like Intyce said, there's always a ball. Pay for your ticket and go see it. I mean, it's not enough to watch it on Legendary. It's not enough to watch it on YouTube.
Absolutely.
It's an experience that you actually need to sit and go be a part of. And then maybe you'll see, you know what I mean? Maybe you'll see what we saw and maybe not. Some people equate ballroom. I hear even some subcultures under our beautiful umbrella equate ballroom with femininity. oh, those people, they just vote, but there's so much more to ballroom than just vote. And you won't know
Mm-hmm.
that unless you go to a ball and you see what's going on in the ball. So,
Mm-hmm.
just become more knowledgeable. Like I said, during this panel, it's so amazing, legendary, amazing. There's different, shows. How do I look? Paris is burning. Do some research, do some knowledge about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
That's great. We'll go to another question, but Entice, you said, you mentioned this platform, and I think that's another reason we can, thank Indy Pride and Indiana Pride of Color for
Yes.
giving
Thank you.
access so we can
Yes,
have the
thank you so much.
conversation,
thank
so
you.
that
Thank you.
so people can understand and get to learn about the history and the culture, and that it's going to provide a space for people to go and feel like they belong. So, are there any downsides to ballroom becoming mainstream? I kind of figured that this question would come up. Uh,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and put it out there.
Can I start? Can I start?
I want to
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Yes.
I don't have anything negative to say, but I will say that I think that people should keep in mind that we are just now getting to a place where we have people in high places that have the keys to the kingdom, or that have the resources to be able to be a producer, to be able to, what I'm saying, make your own project and make it what you want it to be authentically. You know, we as, our people, touch of skin, we don't always have friends in high places or people who look like us who care as much about the same things that we care about. And I feel like we are just now getting into a point where we're gonna start having people producing from ballroom projects. And what I'm saying, I think it's been what I'm saying, a build up to that, and there have been some setbacks along the way, but I think it's all going to be for the greater good in the long run. I think if
Absolutely.
everybody step back and look at the big picture and the grand scale of things, I think when we get to that point, it's going to be a great thing. I just think people just need to give it time,
Absolutely.
because I
Entice,
think
do you
that's
have
the
anything
main
on?
issue. I think that's the main issue, that we just don't have a lot of people in those high places that, what I'm saying, like I said, have the keys to the kingdom and signing the checks and, what I'm
The
saying, making things
gatekeepers. The
happen.
gatekeepers.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Entice?
I think I totally agree with what Jeter says wholeheartedly. Um, I think that that's a good movement, and it's been a long time coming. However, I do also think that with ballroom becoming mainstream, it kind of makes it, anytime a subterranean underground culture becomes mainstream, it kind of makes it hard for that culture to adapt to being mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's very, very hard for you to take something like ballroom and make it mainstream and not condition the people for it to become mainstream.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
I think that's the issue. I think that ballroom isn't being conditioned for it to become mainstream, and then it's becoming to look like, well, people are going to get left behind because they aren't conditioned to deal with the new way ballroom is going to be ran. So for me, that's my only downfall, is if we're going to go mainstream and we're going to do this and we're going to do that, then the leaders in houses need to be conditioning and nurturing their kids and for this new change. That's the stakeholders and those people who are making moves to become these people need to make sure that the people in their houses are being conditioned for this change. That's the only issue I have with ballroom going mainstream.
Absolutely. That's important. I read an article that talked just about that. Exactly what
Wow.
you said. Yeah. Tre'mont, do you have anything to add on that?
Man, really the same as they were saying. I 100% agree with both of them. And my downfall is exactly the same. Like, the people have not been conditioned for it, and I mean, it goes back to even before now. Ballroom, we've been trying to make ballroom mainstream for years. Some of the pioneers have died off, and they tried, and certain things happened because people were not conditioned. Like, I remember Willie Ninja telling me about, before Paris is Burning was even created, them having the news anchors there to record a ball, and a big fight broke out. You know what I mean? So like certain things like that you can't do, or you know, ways you handle yourself you can't do if you're not conditioned for that. If you're not conditioned to know how to take a chop, if you're not conditioned to know that, you know, hey, we're going to bring it back better next time, then you know that's a downfall. So
Sportsmanship.
yeah, definitely sportsmanship. And then when you switch it from trophies to cash, money makes everything crazy. So when you guys have seen some of the high grand prizes, $1,000, $10,000, you know, you're not thinking about sportsmanship. You're thinking about that money. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot's at stake when you kind of talk about that. But it kind of goes back to what you all mentioned earlier about the teamwork and that coming from the families and the houses, you know, kind of teaching that that sportsmanship, which is what Jeter said. So we have another question, and it is: does anybody have any advice on how those of us not in the ballroom community can support the ballroom community? I think that's a great question. Great question.
The narrow money. If you know venues that are willing to allow us to have functions, you know, please spread the word, because when we're trying to have a ball, trying to throw a ball in the city, so many people have heard so many bad things and they've shut their doors. So I mean, you know, just I would think, you know, maybe if you have some spaces or if you want to make donations to things, anytime we're having balls in the cities, we're always looking for supporters to help.
I would. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Judy.
I would say make space for the people who are involved in the ballroom community to be able to showcase ballroom outside of balls, and maybe allow us in those spaces to be able to be a part of the arts within the community, wherever your community is, whether it's, so we're in Indianapolis, so it doesn't always have to be about ballroom at a ball. We can do a showcase, and that could be another way that we could, you know what I'm saying, invite people into our world. Just like Intyce said before about having an exhibition ball. Everybody doesn't always have to come to compete. Sometimes we could just come and showcase and, you know what I'm saying, have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't always have to be at a ball. And I think if everybody kind of expanded their minds to that idea,
Absolutely.
then, you know what I'm saying, like it would also open those people to, you know what I'm saying, make revenue and be able to, you know what I'm saying, so like then you can earn money to be able to contribute into the ballroom community instead of just asking for donations.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really powerful. And that goes back to what you all were saying about the gatekeepers and those who are gaining access and who have access. So on that, I will just say Phoenix Rising Dance Studios and Phoenix Rising Dance supports the ballroom community, and we are here. That's all I'll put out there.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Real talk. We will do what we can to support the community, especially as a gay man.
Thank you.
So I think we should take the time really quickly. Tre'mont mentioned that we should, you know, kind of pay some respect to some of those who brought ballroom to Indy, and I think that's really important. So how about I start with maybe go to Entice or Tre'mont?
Entice can really do
Entice. Absolutely, yeah.
So just real quick, because I even got my list handy.
All
I'm
right.
getting kind of old, so I had to make sure I had a list. But I definitely just want to shout out Jason Avant-Garde, aka Kiki, rest in peace. He was the very first person to bring Vogue back to Indianapolis. Also, Tasia Glory, who was another person, one of the first Voguers in Indianapolis. Icon Opie Ebony and Amy X Ebony are the people who are responsible for throwing the first ball in Indianapolis, therefore giving us the opportunity to call ourselves a ballroom city. That ball definitely gave us exposure, especially in the Midwest, to get more people to come back. And then I'll just go over it real quick. Shay Makaveli, Gaddy Glory Clinique, Jason IQ Prestige, Legendary Charles Ebony, as well as myself, Tre'mont, Angel Matthews Hall, rest in peace, Nevaeh. She was one of the first film queens to really cultivate the ballroom scene in Indy. Cherry Bomb, who now lives in New York, who was one of the first up and drag performers of our scene. And shout out to Giovanni Escada, who was the first trans man and butch realness in Indiana as well. Those are the people who I feel are the people who help cultivate our scene. And there are many, many more who came after us, but I feel like those are the founding class. Those are the people who helped really, really build. I mentioned everybody on the list. So yes, those are definitely the people who I will say. And you can go back and rewatch this, and I probably wouldn't change a thing because those are the people who definitely put Indianapolis on the map.
Go ahead, legend.
Thank you so much. Snaps for that.
And he said what he said.
Flash says, go ahead, Liz. You better have your list. So you all, that was like a truly powerful discussion. It was so much fun. It was joyous. I mean, I know Indy Pride, Indiana Pride of Color, appreciates each of you for sharing your experiences and perspectives as members of the ballroom community. Wherever you're tuning in, let's give it up for our guests. So if you're at home, you can give snaps, you can give claps, but we need to give it up because that was powerful. So I just like to ask each of our panelists to share where people can continue to follow the work that you're doing. We'll start with Intyce, and then we'll do Jeter, and then we'll do Tre'mont.
All right, so you can follow the Emote Incorporated Facebook page. You can also contact me at Eddie_of_all_trades. That's Eddie of all trades on Instagram. And then Eddie Entice Benson on Facebook. Those are essentially the platforms that I use.
Awesome. Thank you, Entice. Jeter.
We can't hear you,
Jeter. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
We got you
now. Okay. Jeter by the Meter is my screen name on Instagram as well as Facebook. You can follow my like page. My main page is CJ Jeter. My website is also jeterbythemeter.com. You can also find me on Cameo, Jeter by the Meter. I'm always sharing new content, so you can follow my YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of great things that I got coming up for you guys, but I'm just gonna hand it over to Intyce and just check me out.
Amazing. All right, Tre'mont.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook at JUSTREMONT, just Tre'mont. If you have Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at Details by Sean. And yeah, follow me. Like I said, I have some things coming up here soon. Also, shameless plug, myself and legendary Damon Prodigy from the city have a ball coming up soon. So just keep your eyes open and peeled for what's going on. So just Tre'mont on Facebook and Details by Sean on Instagram and Twitter. Don't worry about that.
Well, thank you, Tre'mont. Thank you for keeping it real. All right, so thank you all so much. We want to let everyone know that this programming was brought to you by donors like you. Please consider donating to support Indiana Pride of Color at inpoc.org, INPOC.org, and Indy Pride at indypride.org/donate-now. Tomorrow, the Pride Month celebration continues. Tune in for Deaf Pride 2021, Friday, June 4th at 7 p.m. on the Indy Pride website at indypride.org/live. My name is Justin Sears Watson. It has been a pleasure to host this discussion. I'm feeling like fed, like soul food fed. This conversation was amazing. And it's brought to you by Indiana Pride of Color and Indy Pride. You can follow me and Phoenix Rising Dance Company at Phoenix Rising Dance Studios and at Phoenix Rising Dance on all social media platforms. I'd like to wish you all a very happy, happy, happy Pride Month. Take care and be well. Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
y'all. Thank
Bye,
you, Indy
everybody.
Pride.
Happy
Thank
Pride.
you.
Pride.
Thank you.
Indy Pride of Color. Indy.